This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping news, the nation's leader expressing optimism that the country is making progress in the battle against the global pandemic COVID-19. And as of today, Monday, May 4th, the country is now in phase 1B in the reopening of the economy. Italia Hall has more from the Prime Minister's address.
Phase 1B focuses on businesses that can now provide goods and services through delivery and curbside pickup. The nation's leader, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, says the objective of the first phase is to stimulate businesses through economic activity and to meet the needs of Bahamians during this health crisis.
This phased reopening is aimed at striking the right balance between permitting some further level of commerce to resume.
As of Monday, May 4th, businesses can provide goods and services through delivery and curbside pickup Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Construction on New Providence and Grand Bahama will be allowed to operate from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Home and hardware stores, plant nurseries, and auto parts stores may expand to 5-day online delivery and curbside services if they have the capacity.
Businesses should use all of the necessary protocols when handling goods. Construction will now be permitted on New Providence and Grand Bahama. Professional athletes will also be allowed to resume training under Phase 1B. The nation's leader says there are a number of guidelines utilized to determine the transition from one phase to the next.
The number of new cases over specified time intervals together with model predictions. The capacity of the health system to respond to increased number of cases. The number and dispersion of contacts of confirmed cases throughout our archipelago. Identification of vulnerabilities in congregate facilities such as Her Majesty's Prison and long-stay facilities, and adhering to existing restrictions.
Ragged Island, Rum Key, Maguana, Inagua, Crooked Island, Acklands, and Long Key are all now able to resume normal commercial activity, but safety protocols must be followed. Curfew and lockdown measures will remain in place for those islands as well. The nation's leader also addressing the situation that occurred last week involving a few residents who flew by private aircraft to New Providence and brought COVID-19 test kits with them.
The protocol for allowing Bahamians and legal residents to enter the country at this time was breached last week. I have now been informed that instead of the stated 2 permanent residents who were allowed to disembark and remain in the country, that it was actually 6 permanent residents who are all related. All of these individuals have tested negative for COVID-19 and will remain under a mandatory 14-day quarantine.
Now arrangements are being made by the government for the return of hundreds of Bahamians who are stuck in the United States, and they are expected to begin arriving this weekend. The National Food Committee is making preparations to ensure fair and adequate food distribution for all Bahamians and residents. As it relates to the reopening of schools, the Ministry of Education will be guided by the advice of the Ministry of Health. The Prime Minister says all national examinations have been postponed, not cancelled.
These exams will still take place whenever the opportunity arises to conduct them safely. For this reason, students are reminded that in order to do well on their exams, they must remain studious and disciplined in their studies.
The nation's leader says Bahamians must continue to work together in love and unity as there is a very long and difficult road ahead to restore the health of Bahamians, the economy, and society. It's Halia Hall, ZNS Network News.
While the Phase 1 reopening is great news for some sectors here on Grand Bahama, our Jamila Mizik talks with the two business leaders impacted by the reopening, and they are now breathing a sigh of relief.
No, it's been 8 weeks, and just in the last 2 weeks, we were only able to open up 1 day a week. It's been very mind-boggling to see the future where we were going, because any business, big or small, you need cash flow, and if you don't have cash flow, you have a problem. You have continuing bills coming in, insurance, power, water. With cash flow means that a breath of life is restored back into the business, and also our staff are able to come in and make a living, and we're very happy for that.
Now, the Prime Minister also permitting construction on New Providence and Grand Bahama with industry protocols between Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. General Manager of Spartan Builders, Deshaun Smith, says they have been working daily since construction companies on both Abaco and Grand Bahama were permitted to operate during the 24-hour curfew, noting that they have been following the social distancing protocols and wearing the necessary personal protective equipment.
Even in office, we've had certain standards even prior to that with sanitizing doorknobs, every hour throughout the day, that type of thing. Limiting clients and customers from coming into the office and just trying to use more electronic communication as well as phone calls.
Now, he says in the field, employees have been able to work normally because they do not work in large groups.
Construction is fairly spread out. I think that's probably one of the reasons why the government may have left it in place for Grand Bahama and Abaco specifically, just so that people doing repairs could kind of continue and get some normalcy back at their house. Because prior to the whole coronavirus, we have had slowdowns because of Dorian, short supplies, material delays, and so I think any future delay or current delay from corona, it just kind of exacerbates that problem.
Smith says they're also using this time as an opportunity for rebranding and make improvements where necessary, but he admits that there are some challenges.
Went to local stores, the vendors, the hardwares, everything is pretty much a process now. So what was slow because of Dorian, it's even slower now with the social distancing, so it's taking a lot longer. A venture to a store could take you anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, so it's really going to slow down the process. I think now as more people come on the streets, the roads will get more clogged up, so we're going to experience delays. I know our vendors in the U.S. and other international vendors that we use are also experiencing delays. They're still working part-time in some areas. Some are shut down partially, some are shut down completely. I would say that the summer months are going to be a challenge with obviously wearing masks in the construction industry because the humidity is going to make it difficult to breathe and work at the same time. So that's something that our team is going to have to look at, how do we address moving forward.
Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
There has also been an increase in business in some areas of the economy since the global pandemic. One such area is grocery stores. For weeks, long lines of anxious customers assembled outside the major stores in Freeport on a daily basis to stock up on grocery items. Jay Philippe tells us that stores in the West are experiencing a rush as well.
It would appear that stores in the West Grand Bahama district are also getting their fair share of business. For weeks now, shoppers have been standing on long lines, waiting to get inside local grocery stores. Express Food Mart 8 Mile Rock has seen an increase in business. Assistant Manager Sophia Henfield.
Thanks be to God for it, because this is a time, a devastating time and everybody going through something. But it's been good, and my boss tries his best to keep us fully stocked. He does that very well, and I thank God for it because he keeps staff on. We still haven't, everybody has still been employed and stuff like that. But it's been good for us.
Henfield says inventory hasn't been a major challenge.
I'll say somewhat, but I don't know how my boss do it, but he's get it done. I can tell you Mr. Taylor's get it done. He get the stuff here, but we can't keep it on the shelf fast enough, but he's get it done.
Another local convenience store in the 8 Mile Rock community is experiencing an uptick
I'd say like bread, canned goods, but mostly those type of stuff. There's a lot of things we can't find, but we try to order stuff from Nassau and stuff to bring them over here for the customers.
For the most part, residents of the West shop at home in their district. One regular customer says shopping in the 8 Mile Rock community is less of a hassle.
It's very important to have your stuff in the house now, because you know when you get inside, you ain't get back out. So you gotta have your supplies, what you need. It's a lot easier. Because when you go to Solomon's and you go to Sawyer's, you gotta stand in the line. When you come here, you could just walk in, pick up what you want, and walk back out.
Pharmacies play an important role in providing medicines and critical health services to the public. Pharmacy technician Sandra Simmons says prescription parlor pharmacy in 8 Mile Rock has been busy, even with limited operating hours.
This has been very busy. More or less, it's actually been more busy since COVID-19 and the pandemic and all of the shutdown has been announced. So far, we have customers who they're afraid, if I be totally honest with you. So vitamins, disinfectant sprays, you name it, they're selling out like crazy. Right now, in terms of shipments and keeping those items in stock, we are on top of it. However, you came in the middle of, I just had Lysol and they're gone now. So the supply and demand is going to be a great issue, but for now, we're holding firm.
Simmons notes that special provisions have been made for senior citizens and persons with disabilities.
I would not say it's been a challenge. For the elderly, they have been on top of their medication rather. They actually call and notify us, especially like our regular customers. They would call us and tell us, please prepare it. I'm sending my daughter or I'm sending someone to pick it up. So we'll give them a time frame that they can come and pick up. And once they do that, then they're good to go. So they have no need to come in unless there's other items that they need. But prescription-wise, they're okay.
I'm Jay Philippe, ZNS Network News.
Now, this COVID-19 pandemic has caused great damage to the economies around the world, but this crisis has also resulted in the development of new industries as well. Jamila Mizik features a young woman who is making it big in the mask production business.
Since the emergency orders have been in place, many Bahamians are now finding different ways to get by, and for some of them, that includes new business ventures. Owner of Shable Crafts, Chassery Bullard, has been in business since 2010 and customizes anything you can think of. But since the COVID-19 pandemic, Bullard says she has since gotten into customizing face masks.
My mask is slightly different. I wanted to customize them for businesses, put the logos on it like this one. And probably like put a person's initials or something like that. I have a pocket in this to add in a filter. So you could choose filters. You could buy a carbon one. You could get the dust cloths and cut them up. There's a lot of things you could use as a filter that you would normally use in sensitive equipment.
Now, Bullard says most of her business comes from customizing items for funerals, but since the nationwide lockdown, she's been pushed to produce masks, company ID badges, and digital documents.
Companies, commercial companies, private companies that aren't able to have printing done, they want to use it because they're working from home. They wanted the documents digitized where they could fill it out. So I make fillable documents. A few people have come to me for printouts for their kids to have stuff to do at home. People who do arts and craft, they have come for prints so they could be doing work in their studio while on the lockdown. So that's about it.
Interested persons can contact Bullard on Facebook and Instagram at Shable Crafts or call 359-4660 or 812-7722. Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
Many of you in the northern Bahamas may have been able to see this unique view of the sun on Sunday afternoon. Our viewers here in Grand Bahama, as well as Abaco, say that they were able to see it, while some residents of Abaco were surprised by the sun's appearance and did not know what to make of it. Meteorologists say it is simply the refraction of sunlight as it passes through clouds that are made up of ice crystals. Abaco's weatherman Silbert Mill says this is not the first time that he has seen the unique view in Abaco.
Air in the atmosphere is cool. In the upper atmosphere, the sun reflects on the ice crystal that is in the upper atmosphere and creates that. The air in the atmosphere is cool. In the upper atmosphere, the sun reflects on the ice crystal that is in the upper atmosphere and creates that rainbow type circle around the sun. It's not every year, but it seems to be around April, May when we see this, because last year it was May when I saw the circle at my TV station and snapped a photograph of it, and I did it again a few years before. Lots of folks were contacting me trying to find out what I thought it was.
Well, he says he also believes that it is a sign from God for all Bahamians to look up to heaven at the same time.
But it's a weather-related phenomenon that was seen in Florida the day before or a couple of days before, and all of the atmospheric condition has to be perfect for this to occur.
And now to news from the courts. Kevin Clinton, aka Blue, Kevin Clinton Smith, aka Blue, was arraigned before Chief Magistrate Debbie Ferguson in Magistrate Court this past Friday on the charge of murder. He was not required to enter a plea. A preliminary inquiry will be held, and the matter was adjourned to July 27, 2020 for trial. Bail was denied. Smith is accused of the murder of 21-year-old Quinton Anthony Saunders in the back of town area on April 21st. A wanted poster was issued almost 2 weeks ago by the Central Detective Unit for Smith in connection with the murder.
Hello everybody, this is Pastor Aaron Markley from Unity in Christ Church. I want to encourage you today, I want to lift your spirits today, and I want to inject some revelation in your life that will sharpen your tools. I want to sharpen your tools, your weapons of warfare, to continue to fight against what's fighting you. Many of you may feel overwhelmed. You may feel claustrophobic. You may feel that the world is falling down. The sky is falling, like Chicken Little said. But today I will have you to know that there is more for you than who is fighting against you. According to Mark chapter 11 and verse 23, he says, if you say to this mountain, be thou removed and be cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in your heart, but believe those things which you say shall come to pass, you shall have whatsoever you say. The Word of God says, you must speak, you must declare, you must lift your voice and speak it into the atmosphere. I know that we're dealing with a pandemic in our society, but I want you to continue to leave your spirit open, that the wisdom, the innovation, the inspiration, and the revelation power of God comes into your heart, thereby allowing seeds to grow and blossoming in this nation. Don't give up. Now ain't the time to give up. We thank God for the word, which is life, and I trust that that life will light every gift in you, because this is your time. This is your moment to shine. Let your light so shine.
A local sorority giving back. That story straight ahead.